Let's talk about a phrase we've all heard a million times and, yeah, maybe rolled our eyes at: professional development. But what if we could strip away all that corporate jargon? What if we started looking at it as, well, the fundamental architecture of your entire career? That's exactly what we're going to build today. The source material we're digging into today just puts it perfectly. Professional development isn't just about sitting through a workshop or getting a new certificate. It's the mechanism, the actual process that takes your raw talent, your potential, and transforms it into real, tangible power. It's how a knack for organizing things becomes the ability to manage a massive, complex project.
So that's the big question, right? If your development is an engine, what are its parts? What kind of fuel does it run on? And probably the most important question of all, how do you get in the driver's seat and actually steer your career where you want it to go? Well, in this explainer, we're going to hand you the map.
All right, let's dive in. Part 1, the architecture of a career. Before we can start building anything, we need a solid foundation. So let's take this concept from a vague buzzword and turn it into a concrete framework we can actually work with.
Now, look at the language here. This is what's so interesting. It's not a single event. It's a transformational arc. It's deliberate, which means you are in control. Iterative, meaning you do it over and over, getting just a little bit better each time. And this one is critical. It's identity shaping. This whole process doesn't just add new skills to your toolbox. It fundamentally changes who you are as a professional.
So, part 2, your internal growth engine. Where does all this transformation actually start? It's not with your company's training program, I'll tell you that. It starts inside you. So let's pop the hood and look at the internal engine that powers all of this. This right here, this is the raw fuel for your engine. Every single one of us has this latent capacity, this untapped reserve of mental, emotional, and motivational energy that's just waiting. And the key words here are awaiting activation. Potential is pretty much useless until you apply some real challenge and real effort to it. And this is a brilliant breakdown of the 4 key cylinders of that internal engine. First up, your mindset. Do you see a challenge as a roadblock or as an opportunity? Second, discipline. That's the daily, kind of unglamorous work of just getting 1% better. Third, your feedback orientation. Can you actually hear and use criticism without getting defensive? And finally, reflective practice, that crucial habit of looking back on what happened to figure out what you learned. And this is so, so important. Let this one sink in. You can be sent to the best training programs in the world, have all the latest tools, work at a fantastic company, but if this internal engine isn't strong, none of it really matters. All that external stuff, it's always going to underperform. It all starts right here with you. Okay, part 3, the external growth ecosystem. So once your internal engine is fired up and running, you need an ecosystem to provide fuel and to open up the road ahead. This is where the world outside of you comes into play to really accelerate your journey. I absolutely love this definition. A mentor isn't just a friendly guide. They are an accelerant. They transfer their social capital, their wisdom, directly to you. And here's the best part, they compress time. Think about that. A mentor can teach you a lesson in a single conversation that might have taken you 5 years to learn on your own through trial and error. They just reduce the friction of growth. And in the same way, networking isn't just grabbing coffee with people. It's strategic relational capital development. Every real connection you build actually expands your opportunity surface area. It's like having a bigger satellite dish. The bigger it is, the more signals, the more opportunities you're going to catch. It gives you a huge informational advantage. And this is where it all comes together. Opportunities. Those big projects, those kind of scary new roles. They are the crucibles. They're the catalytic experiences that force your latent, unproven potential to become real, demonstrated capability that everybody can see. So just take a second here and think about this. Who are the people in your ecosystem? Who are your mentors? What does your network really look like? Because these aren't just nice to haves, they are absolutely essential accelerators for your growth engine. All right, part 4, your strategic blueprint. So we've got the internal engine humming and the external ecosystem providing the fuel. Now we need a map. This is all about moving from accidental growth to intentionally building the career you actually want. So let's start by getting really clear on 2 key paths. Upskilling is about getting better at what you already do. It's about vertical depth. Think of a software developer learning a more advanced coding language. Reskilling, on the other hand, is totally different. It's a strategic pivot. It's a reconfiguration of your entire professional identity to stay relevant as the world changes. Like a graphic designer learning UX design to adapt. So, how do you build this path with intention? Well, here we've got a fantastic 4-step blueprint. First, you set your goals. You define what your future state looks like. Second, you identify the absolute essential skills you need to be competent. Third, you've got to get your hands dirty and build some real-world experience. And finally, you have to actively align your personal goals with the opportunities that actually exist out there. And this is why this whole thing matters so much. Without a plan, a career can feel totally random, right? You just kind of drift from one job to the next. Career pathing is the antidote to that. It injects intention into the whole process, and it lets you be the architect, not just a passenger along for the ride. So we're on to our final section, the ultimate yield. After all this work, building the engine, navigating the ecosystem, drawing up the blueprint, what's the payoff? What is the actual return on this massive investment of your time and your energy? The source material calls this the developmental dividend, and I think that's just brilliant, because just like a financial investment, your investment in your own development pays out a real, measurable dividend over time. And here are the key components of that dividend. The biggest piece of the pie, of course, is just increased performance. You get better at your job. But look at the other pieces. Enhanced employability, which makes you more valuable on the market. Greater internal mobility, giving you more options where you are. And finally, a huge boost in just plain old career satisfaction. This quote right here is the perfect summary of the entire journey we just talked about. It starts small with you, with your raw capability. Through this whole process, that capability gets forged into strategic competency. But it doesn't even stop there. That competency eventually scales up into leadership, into innovation, and into having a real lasting impact. So we're going to leave you with this final thought. Whether you're paying attention to it or not, your career is being built piece by piece every single day. The only question is, are you just letting it happen by chance, or are you the one holding the blueprints? Are you the architect?